Guys, this is Ashley and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to be here today, and it has been a long time, but we will talk about that later because I am coming back with a great video for you. I am doing 5 looks with the Mothership VIII Divine Rose 2. Here she is, and I just absolutely love this packaging. So some of my favorite packaging is actually the Divine Rose packaging, which is the first one, number 7. And the packaging of Mothership V and Mothership VI. So this right here is just combining both, like the best of both worlds right here. We have like the little crown and the spikes, and then she has the lower part of her crown with the roses, and we have the little bee and the fabulous eyeshadow. So this is the packaging for Mothership VII, if you weren't aware. So I just love how it blends both of them together. And just in case you need a reminder, this is the packaging of Mothership V. So this is one of my favorite packages. So I just really love how this is combined right here. So the palette actually debuted or released to Pat McGrath's website on May 29th, and I was on there early with my code so I could get my palette. I mean, like early, like it was 8 o'clock. I'm like getting out the car on the way, walking into work and making my purchase. And so I did see that she made some modifications to the purchase scene aspect of her website, which is great because there has been a lot of controversy, especially as of late when she released the Star Wars collection and when Decadence came back. So when you purchased it, you were able to put it in the cart very easily, and then you were actually put like in a waiting line. So it lets you know basically, do not refresh this page and go ahead and just stay here, and then you'll be redirected to pay. Now, I was a little bit scared after I got out to the redirected to pay because it said it was like an error with the card, but then I got a confirmation and it went through. It was slightly stressful, but I was able to navigate it, and I'm glad that she is making some changes for people who are having purchasing issues. I've never had any issues. Now, the shipping time, it did take about 2 weeks for me to receive my palette. She told us that up front. We are living in a COVID-19 world, so shipping is slow. You can't work as fast because you can't have as many people sometimes in the facilities to package up these products. So I do understand that. Not to mention, I live in Chicago, Illinois, and after the unfortunate, untimely death of George Floyd, there were protests here that the protests were peaceful, but people used that as a time for opportunity to loot the entire south side of Chicago. So shipping was delayed from that. But I got my palette, and I was so ever so lucky to get the rose gold packaging. So here she is. Like I said before, I was lucky to get the rose gold packaging, and she released Mothership VIII and Mothership VII together. And the Mothership VII was more of a light pink packaging, where the Mothership VIII is a highly mirrored, as you can see, everything is reflecting off of it. There is my ring light, and it is a deeper, more rose gold packaging, and I think it is beautiful. So once you open it up, this is what you get. You get these 10 glorious shades with this great mirror. Now, this palette is actually marked as an artistry palette because this shade right here is deemed not safe or suitable for eye use because it is a pigment, more likely because of the dye, and it will stain your eyes. So you do have to use that with caution if you are sensitive to your eyes being stained by certain eyeshadows, or if it causes any type of inner eye damage for you. Now, I will go ahead and swatch these shades in just a moment. The palette is now available on Sephora.com, and I just checked, and today is the 17th of June, and it is currently available. And of course, you know, Pat McGrath palette, $125. She also came out with 3 lips with this palette. 2 of the lips were actually re-promoted shades, and I have them in my collection already, which is the shade Christy, and you will see these in action later on. This is actually the lip combos I have on. And then also the Divine Rose Lustgloss right here. I have this in a mini as well as she released the shade Soft Core, and then she also released 2 lip liners, Buff and Suburbia. So let's go ahead and get into the swatches because I have 5 looks for you today. First up, we have the shade Skin Show Opal. And these shades are so beautiful and so luxurious, as you would come to expect with Pat McGrath, but it seems like the formula has been amped up. Next up, we have the shade Naked Truth. And I'm just going to go ahead and swatch that. Again, these are my terrible swatches, guys. I'm going to go ahead and swatch it again. This is Naked Truth. Then we have the shade Eleganza, which is absolutely beautiful. We have Bronze Rosé 005, Gold Lust 001, Extreme Burgundy, Divine Dusk, Rose Seduction, VR Sexual Terrestrial, which is, whoo, that shade. And last but not least, we have Astral Pink Moon. And these are the swatches. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. My eyelid is primed using my Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Sculpting Concealer in the shade Butterscotch. Eyebrows are filled in. Now, I do have them tinted that I got done professionally at the salon, along with my Benefit Goof Proof Brow 3.75, that's the shade. So we're going to go in. First brush up is my Rephr P07F, and we're going to start with the shade Naked Blush, which is this beautiful kind of like peachy tone. And it is so pretty, and I'm just gonna buff this right here in the crease up at the top. And this shade shows up, and it's just so reflective. Well, you know, the thing about Mother Pat's mattes are that usually sometimes they do show up a little bit darker, which is definitely a benefit. And I love this shade. It is just like the perfect transition tone for this palette. And I'm just buffing that back and forth in the crease. So I have that built up, but I want to go in one more time just to build it up to my desire. And it's just back and forth. Now, with my Sonia G, this is the Worker Pro. I'm going to go in with Extreme Burgundy, and I'm just going to pat that on the outer V area. And I'm going to kind of pat and blend and drag that into the middle part of the eye. And this shade is beautiful. You know, I love a good purple burgundy type of shade for deepening the outer crease. I tend not to, you know, usually go with blacks unless I'm really just in the mood. So shades like this, for me, really always work. And look at the instant smoke. And you still have that hint of Naked Blush peeking through, going back in, same brush, and I'm just gonna gently kind of fuse out that shade into Naked Blush. These are kind of looks that I'm creating first, that I've been kind of playing around with and wearing to work, that I've really been enjoying, that makes this palette kind of wearable. And then, you know, I'll amp it up. Going in Divine Dust, this is my Sonia G Builder Pro, and I'm just going to tap that right here. And this shade is really pretty. It's a little bit sheerer than Eleganza, but it has really pretty glitter flakes in it, and does apply well with a finger also, but I prefer to use my brush. So this one's a little bit more muted cranberry shade, and I'm just kind of meeting that up in the crease. With that same brush, I wiped it off. I'm going to go in with Bronze Rosé 005. This shade is absolutely beautiful. So here it is, and I'm just going to pop that in the inner corner of the eye. Just like that, we have our first look done, and that is just so pretty. And the way this bronze rose meets with that shade Divine Dusk is so beautiful. Let's jump over to this eye. Eyelids prime using that same concealer. Going back in with that same Rephr brush, the P07F. Picking back up the Naked Blush, I'm going in with another look, basically that wore to work when I first got this palette. Well, when I first got it, I just got it. And I'm just like, on the other eye, I'm just buffing that back and forth. And look, I picked up a lot so you can see how pigmented this color is. Oh my God, this color is life. To me, this color is kind of like, I love it just as much as I love that single burnished honey that she has as an idol. And I use that all the time when I just need a matte in my crease when I'm using palettes. It might have a lot of shimmers or something. So that is the Naked Blush shade. Sonia G Worker Pro, once again, going in with the Extreme Burgundy right here. Tapping that in my crease, and then I'll tap and feather out. This one I'm keeping a little bit tighter, kind of bringing it in to my crease a little bit. Sonia G Builder Pro, going in with the shade Eleganza. Oh, I love this shade, and it reminds me of like one of my favorite TV shows, Pose, with Billy Porter and MJ Rodriguez. I love that show. It's, you know, it's just so entertaining. Plus it's like history based, and it's all about, you know, really the transgender community, really the LGBTQ community. But I just really love the theatrics of that show. And this is definitely like a play on the House of Extravaganza. Basically, when I think about this shade, that's what I think about. I hope that show comes back out this season sometime soon, because you know, with COVID, like they haven't been able to film TV shows. I'm like, oh, when is season 3 gonna come out? So that is Eleganza, and look, it is so beautiful right there. Then let's see, I think with the look I did, using my same Builder Pro, I'm gonna go in with Skin Show Opal, and I pop that right here in the inner corner. Now, don't judge my manicure. It's been a lot going on. We'll talk about it in another video. But I'm gonna go in with my finger with Astro Pink Moon. So, and I tapped that. And I did put that over my eye to go to work. Yeah, it was probably that much. I don't care. And those are the 2 looks. I'll be right back. I'm gonna do some lashes and liner, and we'll look at them in totality. I'm back, and I added on my lashes, and this is what the 2 looks look like. And I think they both came out so beautiful. I added on my Kiss Ritzy lashes. They are the natural ones. And for my lips, I went in with something that was already in my collection. 2 of the items are promoted with the Divine Rose 2 packaging, and that is the Christy lipstick and the Divine Rose Lustgloss. And then just for definition, I line my lips with the MAC Chestnut. But I think that these 2 looks look so beautiful, and they are just, they're really kind of daytime. They're going out, you know, special occasion. It just depends on where you're going, but I think that these looks are so beautiful. And when you add on with this eye, when I have Astro Moon on top of the Eleganza, it is just so beautiful, and it really makes that shadow dance, because there are already some small silver flecks in that shadow Eleganza. And Skin Show Opal is so pretty. It just meshes so well with those shades. And then I just really love how the Bronze Opal right here, or excuse me, Bronze Rose 005 goes into Divine Dust. I think both of these looks are very pretty, and I enjoyed wearing them the first time I played with these palette all day. So these are the first 2 looks. So let's gonna go ahead and jump into some more. And I have, all right, I'm back. Eyelid is Rephr, going in with that P07F brush. I'm gonna go in with the shade Extreme Burgundy, which is that deep dark shade, and I'm just gonna start kind of working this into the crease and blending it back and forth. I'm kind of going in with a small amount so far, just so we don't take it too overboard. And I'm just gonna kind of blend this back and forth. It's like the shadow is skipping just a little bit on that concealer, but let's see, we can work it out. Yep, there we go. And I am blending this back and forth, and it blends out pretty nicely where you don't have to worry about it being super, super dark. Going in with some more, focusing on that outer corner. And in certain areas, I'll just kind of build up the intensity, which is really more like the outer corner and the inner. We're going to do a little halo situation. This look was inspired, I want to say, by Alexandra L. She does a lot of work for Pat McGrath, and I recently got an email, actually yesterday, because I'm filming this video in 2 days. I got an email regarding, you know, how to looks to create with Divine Reels 2. So I was like, oh, that's pretty. And I hadn't really thought of that. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm blending that out, and that looks really nice, really, really smooth. And then I'm gonna go in with a smaller packing brush so we can kind of concentrate the color. With my Rephr 02, going in, same color, the Extreme Burgundy, and I'm going to start placing that on the inner corner. And I'm just packing that color on, and that way it's more intense and I can kind of get precise application. I'm just making sure, I'm just kind of taking my time, only because it depends on your eye shape and, you know, the skin folds that you have. And I have kind of a meaty eyelid, so I have to pay attention and make sure. So I'm just intensifying it there and making sure that the shadow is in all of my little skin folds, so when I open up my eye, you know, I'm not missing shadow. So now I'm literally just gonna flip the brush over, and I'm gonna go in with Rose Seduction, which is that hot pink shimmer shade. So here we go, and I'm just packing that in the center. I'm like, so easy. And this is a good way to kind of use that pink if you're intimidated by a pink that is so bright and you're like, I don't really want it on my crease, I really don't want it on my lid a lot, but it's a good way to use it. It looks really pretty with that burgundy shade. I'm just going to go in with a little bit more product and just fuse it in. And I did bring it up a little bit above my crease, so you can kind of see the shadow, and it's like a nice fade right there. So I'm really happy of how that looks. And that was a super simple eye look. Now with my Sonia G Pencil Pro, I'm going to go in with the shade Skin Show Opal. And I'm just going to lightly buff this in right here to do a little bit of highlighting. And it fuses out. Now with this eye look, I do think that she used the shade Naked Blush, but I decided not to use that. So I'm just going to go ahead, highlight that area, and I just want to pick up a little bit more. It's just a little bit more pinky. Now for the inner corner of that eye, I'm going to use that same pencil brush, and I am going to go in with that same shade Skin Show Opal, and I'm just going to pop it right here. Then wiping that brush off, that same Pencil Pro, dipping back in with Extreme Burgundy, I am going to run this along the bottom lid, because I really think that this look kind of calls for lower lash line work. And I'm just going to make sure it just connects with that outer corner, and I did drag some up. Little dab of Astro Pink Moon right there. Going back in with that first brush by Rephr, that P07F, I'm just making sure that this is fused out and kind of blown out together. Back eyelid is prime, using that same concealer, Wayne number 16. I am going to jump in with Rose Seduction with that Wayne number 16, and I'm going to start blending it out in the crease. And this is a light shimmer shade. It has a light shimmer to it, so it will buff out pretty well in the crease. That is like a good thing about Pat McGrath, that you don't really have to worry about if you don't have a lot of matte options or you get tired of using the same transition shade. So I'm just buffing that in the crease with that Wayne 16, and I'm just going to go in with a little bit more, make sure that I have my folds covered. And with my Wayne Goss number 17, I'm going to jump in with the shade Naked Blush. Going in real quick at the outer just to kind of buff out that pink and make it seamless. Just doing a light application and buffing that out. Jumping in Rephr number 2 that we used before, I'm going to put Extreme Burgundy right here on the base of the eyelid. And I'm just going to use this kind of for a base for the shade Divine Dusk. And I'm just kind of packing that in because that's that shimmer shade that's a little bit finer. It doesn't have a whole lot of base color. So I'm just kind of patting this in and fusing it in with the pink color, which is Rose Seduction. My Builder Pro by Sonia G, I'm going to go in with the shade Divine Dusk. Picking that up, and now I'm going to pack that over the Extreme Burgundy. So we have a little bit of shimmer here. Just packing it in so we get a little bit of definition. It's not too dark. And we'll see if we need more of the Extreme Burgundy in a moment. I'm just placing that on the inner corner. Wiping that brush off, I'm going to go in with Bronze Rose 005. I just absolutely love the texture of this Bronze Rose shade. And I'm going to pack it next to the 005. So this is kind of like the first look we wore, but a little bit different because of the crease. And now I'm wiping off that same brush and I'm going to go in with Gold Lust 001. Ooh, and the formula seems to be pretty much the same as the Bronze Rose. And I'm going to pack that in to the inner corner and overlap it with the Bronze Rose. And then sometimes that is just the magic of the Pat McGrath shadows. They mesh so well together. It's just like the color combos. It's like you can't beat it. Everything just glides and moves so effortlessly. So I'm pretty comfortable how this looks, but I want to go back in with the Wayne 17 and I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Extreme Burgundy, and I am going to just deepen this up right here, which will kind of change the shape of my eye look. This is so helpful sometimes, just placing that color right there. A brush, Sonia G, going back in with the Extreme Burgundy. I'm going to hit up this waterline. And I'm going to put a little bit of that pink, which is the Rose Seduction, on the outer part of it. You're going to want to be careful because I don't want to look like I'm sick. And I'm so thrilled how this looks. So I'm going to go ahead, add my lashes, liner, be right back. All right, I am back. I added on the same lashes as before. Those were the Kiss Ritzy lashes and the exact same lip combo. So let's talk about these eyes. This one is so sparkly. The gold is so prominent, and the formula on the gold 001 and the Bronze Rose 005 is impeccable. And I really like the crease that we created with using the Rose Seduction shade, that pink shade. It is so nice, and it's not too brightly pink where it's just scary on your skin complexion. And then I love how we have this beautiful smoky eye, but it's not too dark, and we have this pop of bright color in the center along with the astral pink moon to highlight the inner corner. And that burgundy shade, the Extreme Burgundy, blended out so well as just our overall base shade. And you can kind of build it up, or you can manipulate it to kind of be sheared out so you don't have to worry about it being too dark. And I just love how just putting that middle shade of the Rose Seduction in the center just gives it that bright pop of it. And it's just a great way to utilize that pink shade, like I said earlier, if you're just scared of something that bright and you don't really know what to do with it. Because like, I knew what to do with it, but the inspiration just really helped guided me when I saw that. So I definitely went to create that look. So I'll be right back for our last and final look. All right, I am back. Eyelids reprime. We're going to go in with our final look. I have my Sonia G Blender Pro here, and you know we couldn't do a video without going in with the shade VR Sexual Terrestrial. And everybody's basically done this look, but I'm going to do it. And I actually wore it to work yesterday, and it was really, really nice. So what I'm doing, I'm just taking my fluffy blending brush. You can just take any brush that you have that's fluffy and blended. That's a blending brush, and I am just running this shade literally across the whole eye. And I'm just picking up some more and just blending this out. And I'm just kind of blending it out to a point so it has a little bit of definition on the side, and you can just see, like, well, I haven't got the whole eye on, but it's definitely kind of pink, and then you go see the green right there. And I'm just going to literally just keep blending that shade. And like basically the eye look is done just that fast. Now I am going to go ahead and pick up the Sonia G Builder Pro, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to kind of tap into some of the areas just to kind of build that shade up, just to make sure it's intense and we're not missing any little pockets in my fine lines, especially right in this little area, because we were using such a fluffy brush. And I'm just going to make sure that it is intense. Now going in with that Sonia G pencil brush, I'm going to pick up the shade, the burgundy shade, which is the extreme burgundy, and I'm just going to run this along the bottom just so we can create a little look. Now when I wore the look to work yesterday, I don't think I brought it up as high right here, and I did not do any bottom lash line work. I usually never do any bottom lash line work when I'm going to work, just so the look doesn't look so dramatic, because it is work. And not to mention, sometimes my eyes just, they water. They don't play fair throughout the day, so I don't have as much time to check on looks like I would do if I'm out and about. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye, and I'll be right back with some lashes. And all right, I am back, and this is the final look. It was so simple to create, and I think it came out so beautiful. And even though we have seen this look kind of time and time again, floating around in other videos, on Instagram tutorials and whatnot, I just love it. One shade, slap it across the eye, you are good to go. So these are the same lashes and the same lip combo, and that pink to green shift is just amazing. And I know so many other brands have done this triochrome formula before, but it's just great to see it and have it in a Pat McGrath formula and just bringing it to the forefront of the brand. So let's go ahead and talk about Mothership VIII Divine Rose 2. I absolutely love this palette. I mean, it is so pretty, and dare I say that it has quickly become one of my favorite Mothership palettes, like literally. I've been wearing this palette for about a week now. Prior to filming this video, as I mentioned before, some of my looks, you know, I have worn them to work, and I have just really fallen in love. Now, you guys already know I'm a sucker for berry tones. So for me, this is great because this palette is a little bit more berry tone, is a little bit more vibrant than we have in Mothership VII, which is a little bit more subdued, very more rosy. But this to me is like, you know, the little sister. She's spicy, she got a little kick, and that's kind of how I am, but she's still sweet. That is me. So I just love the formula of the palette. Now, Extreme Burgundy, you know, I love it. I don't really necessarily care for black or really deep brown shades always to deepen my eye look. So a burgundy or a plum shade always works well, and I think it plays very well on my skin complexion and a lot of skin complexions, because black sometimes can just be too harsh on certain skin complexions. So I think you get a wide variety here. And then this shade right here, which we have Divine Dust, it is so pretty. It's berry, it has gold flicks. Now this one is a little bit sheerer in consistency. So when you saw that fourth look I did right here, where I actually patted down the Extreme Burgundy, you can definitely intensify this shade. Now Eleganza, that shade is just by far so pretty, so amazing. And I can just see myself throwing that across my eyelid as well. And I just think that these shades go together so well. Like, this palette was so thought out and everything meshes so well to each other. I mean, like, everything just kind of blends itself and just goes right into it. You don't have a problem with using any of these shades as a transition. I think that this shade Naked Blush is beautiful as a transition. It'll look beautiful on a lot of complexions as blush. And I'm kind of worried. I'm like, oh girl, you gonna make a single of this so I don't run out or when I hit pan on it. But let's be honest, I'm probably not gonna hit pan. Oh, we'll see. You know, stranger things have happened. For me, when I think about this palette, I really feel that the formula has been vastly improved, if that was even possible when we're talking about Pat McGrath. But I just really think that the formula has been amped up and she really took her time with this palette. Now, one shade in particular where I definitely noticed a formula improvement was the Bronze Rosé 005. We all know that Pat McGrath has several different special shades. She has the VR shade, she has the Astral shade, she has the Blitz, the 005, the Iridescent. So as far as the 005 shades, I think that this one by far is one of the best 005 shades. It is very smooth, very fine, and it's like butter. And it's, the gelée formulation of it has just been tweaked, so it's very smooth and it requires very little effort for you to pick it up with your eyes. You can use that one brush and swoop it over and you're going to get maximum pigmentation without having to wet it. And I pulled out a few of my palettes so I could show you. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of that Bronze Rosé 005 on my hand so I can show you. So this is what we're looking like for Bronze Rosé. Very smooth, no problem picking up with a brush. And then I also feel that Redefined Gold from Mothership VII is a close match as far as formulation from that. We have Mothership VII, the big sister of Mothership VIII, and here you go. So this is the Redefined Gold. As you see, it's very smooth. Swatch it for you. So that is so smooth. These two shades, I mean, the formula has improved vastly, and I will show you what I mean. Even from Mothership VI. We have Mothership VI, which is Midnight Sun, and this is Blood Moon 005. Now, I absolutely love this color, and this color looks great on the eyes, but for me, this particular formulation of the 005 is a little, it's not as great as the other ones, just to be frankly honest. It's very gritty and it's not smooth. And you see it's a little spotchy, like right there when I first pressed down on the swatch. And it does require some type of mixing medium or setting spray in order to bring out the full potential of that shade. Not to mention it's a little flaky and it's very textured. So although I love this shade, it's just not comparable to these two. And definitely not comparable to the 005 shade that lies in Mothership 2. So here we have Mothership 2, and this is Bronze 005. And as you can see what my palette looks like, it's very textured. It's just not smooth. How you have the other ones that look like a smooth gelée formula in the pan, and this is the swatch of the Bronze 005. Although it's very pretty, you get good color payoff, it does take more finessing when you lay it down on the eyes for effect versus the one in Mothership 7 and definitely Mothership 8. So I just really appreciate her amping up the formula. Like I said, I feel like this palette is very wearable. You're going to get so much use out of this palette, which is great because it's $125. These particular special shades, they don't require so much finessing. You could just kind of pop the shades on your eye and keep it moving. Kind of how I felt about Mothership 7, where that was a very easy, workable, easy breezy palette where you can just kind of put it on your eyes and go. And I would think that this palette is kind of like the next step up. It does require maybe a little bit more finessing, but not really when I think about it, because even like the special shade, this VR shade, I had no problems with it. You just slap it on your eyes and boom, you have a eye look. So I really do like this palette. I think it is so beautiful, and literally me testing it out over the week and this not being a first impression, I can honestly say that I am in love with all the looks that I've come up with and all the looks that I'm going to come up with in the future. And I just really, it's really just become one of my favorite palettes in her collection. So with that being said, I hope you really enjoyed all 5 looks. Please let me know which one was your favorite look down below. You know, I'm digging this look. I like the little smoky eye with the pink. That was cute. And I like the 2 looks that I wore to work. I mean, they were so great, especially the eye that had eleganza on it. Just throw the towel. Just throw it away. Woo, that was so pretty. So just let me know down below which ones you liked. Did you pick up the palette? Are you thinking about picking up the palette? Let's chat down in the comments. And please subscribe to my channel because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with that being said, you already know what time it is. It is time for the chair dance age. Chair dance. All right. Bye.